So it's 10:41 p.m. on Wednesday, February 24th, 2021. This is Joseph Alexander Suchorski here, aka the Polish Panther. For those of you who don't know me, I am a ordained minister, ordained priest, and ordained rabbi, as well as an officer who has served this country and who has also worked for the United States government for many years. So I was recently reading an article, or part of an article a few minutes ago, about TJ Maxx and how they're in a lot of financial trouble, and they're hoping that, once this coronavirus 19 situation gets better, that, they're hoping that people will come back and start shopping there again and spend money, to make up for the lost money and revenue that the store didn't make during this whole pandemic. Well, first and foremost, a lot of stores have been in financial trouble. A lot of dairy farms and farmers have been in trouble. A lot of small businesses have been in trouble. And I really think it's the small businesses that we should be helping out. There's a lot of businesses out there, large retailers like Walmart and Target and Sam's Club, and like a lot of these big, what they call big box businesses, who are filing for, federal money and this and that to stay afloat. Well, you know what? First of all, federal money and state money should be going to the smaller businesses, not these big box businesses. Like TJ Maxx and Walmart and, all this stuff. First of all, the people who own these companies, these CEOs and corporate people and all that, well, I guess they're just going to have to take a loss in pay and lower their salaries down so that they can take the money and use it for their stores. Because it's not right for the government to constantly bail them out when smaller stores are going under, because they're not getting bailed out. Same thing with Wall Street. I believe that Wall Street and these stores and these rich people should be paying higher taxes. But here's the thing. Maybe this is the government's plan. You see, President Thomas Jefferson said it the best when he said, "The best form of government is the government that interferes the least." Now, being an officer with the United States government and have served this country and have worked with the government, as well as been an investigator before I became clergy, I've seen a lot of corruption within our government. A lot of secrets, a lot of just all kinds of things. And maybe this is the government's plan. Maybe they keep this lockdown going because maybe they want these businesses to to go out of business. People lose their jobs, because then here's the thing. It sounds bad, and it's what you wouldn't expect, but think about it. If people have to rely on the government for assistance, then people, in the government's eyes, people are a lot easier to control. Okay? Simple as that. Pretty soon it's not going to be long. I've already read stories, actual stories about companies who are making people get tracking chips put in their bodies, and now people like in other countries are getting chips and stuff put in their hand where their financial information's on this chip so that they don't have to use cash or credit card or this or that. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a lot of this stuff like the movie Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he had the tracker in his body and they could find him wherever he was, or like when he had to use his thumbprint when he was in Johnny Cab, and the guy's like, "That will be so much credits, please." And he pressed his thumb against the screen and it took off the deduction from what he had to pay. This is something that the government's been pushing for a long time. They've been wanting to LoJack people for a long time. They did it in a lot of these futuristic movies. This whole thing, even in the remake of Total Recall. When they did the remake of Total Recall, Colin Farrell's character had his cell phone. It was an implant in his hand, there's a lot of people who are talking about, they would do that, this and that. Well, you know what? I certainly wouldn't do that. I refuse to get any kind of tracking chip put in my body. I refuse to get any kind of implant, like a cell phone or a chip in there that's got cash on there, for credits and for paying for things. You know what? Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. And for those of you who want to do that, I'm sorry to say this because I don't mean to be judgmental, but you people are just fucking stupid. You are. You're just really fucking stupid. Because here's the thing. And excuse my choice of words, especially being a clergy member. When you sit there, given the fact that I fought for people's rights all of my life, when you sit there and you agree to give up your freedom, you agree to get, tracking chips put in your body, like some companies are doing across the world, and you agree to have, these chips put in your hands like they're doing in other countries right now to replace cash and credit. You're sitting there giving up your freedom. You are allowing the governments to control you. And what you don't realize is one day you're going to wake up and you're going to see just how bad it's gotten, just how communist the governments across the world are, and especially our government, and you're going to say, you know what, I want my freedom back. But here's the problem. By then, it's going to be pretty much too late, because once you give up your freedom, it is very hard to give back. It's very hard to get back, This is why people need to fight. They need to fight. They need to maintain their freedom. And for those of you out there who can sit there and say, you know what, he don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, I do, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me, I've worked for the government most of my adult life. And I have seen stuff that you wouldn't believe, I've seen a lot of top secret stuff. I've seen a lot of, experimental stuff, stuff that's not released to the public. And, it's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And you people don't understand that. You sit there and you take your freedom for granted. When you look at this, the whole 9/11 thing, with surveillance and 9/11, that was just the tip of the iceberg. All this stuff, like even social media and computers and, the World Wide Web and, just all this stuff. This, years ago, that stuff was just the tip of the iceberg. The mass surveillance that's going on now, and, the red light traffic cams and just all the stuff out there, the increased amount of cameras, and they claim, it's for the citizens' safety, so we can track the criminals, so we can do this and then we do that. No, it's to track you, ladies and gentlemen. Part of it might be to catch the criminals, but for the most part, it's to track each and every one of you. Because they can go from this camera to that camera to that camera. They can follow your whole route, on which way you're going, You people need to listen out there. You really need to do. You need to get your head out of the clouds, and you need to listen. And you need to fight for your rights. You need to fight for your freedoms, to make sure that you got freedoms. Because otherwise, think about it. You're going to end up in a society like the movie Escape from New York or Escape from LA, where the government controls everything. There's no drinking, no smoking, no sex. There's no red meat, no salt, things like that, And they've already done it, ladies and gentlemen. They've already started doing this with alcohol. You have to be 20. No, you have to be 21 to drink. Okay, it's the smoking I was thinking about. It used to be you had to be 18 to buy cigarettes. Well, now in just about every state there is, if not all the states, you have to be 21 years old to buy a pack of cigarettes. Well, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you're 18 years old and you're old enough to go into the military and to fight and to give your life for this godforsaken country that doesn't care about you, and this government that doesn't care about you, and even at the age of 17 with parental consent, if you're old enough to go into the military and give your life for this godforsaken country, why can't you go out there and buy a pack of cigarettes at the age of 18? It has nothing to do with your health. It's another way the government's trying to control you, ladies and gentlemen. And you are allowing them to do that. Yeah, okay, I don't smoke. I used to smoke. I gave up smoking. To each their own. People want to smoke? Fine, that's on them. To each their own. I don't care. But here's the thing. It should be freedom of choice if you want to smoke or not. Freedom of choice if you want to drink or not. If you're old enough to go and to serve this country and fight for freedom, so-called freedom that they claim, because that's questionable too. Our freedom's questionable. But if you're old enough to go and you're old enough to fight for this country, Why aren't you old enough to go and buy a pack of cigarettes? Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. Simple as that. It's communism. That's what it is. It's another way for the United States government to control you. And you know what? You people are allowing them to do it. You're allowing them to do it. We elect these people in office. You know, as George Carlin said in one of his many specials, and don't get me wrong, I love George Carlin. You know, he's a great guy. He's also a retired Air Force veteran. But he said, when you elect selfish and ignorant people in office, that's what you're going to get. Selfish and ignorant results. Garbage in, garbage out. And you know what? He was right. He really was. Sometimes I think the people who wrote these futuristic movies, sometimes I start to wonder, is it possible these people could see the future and see what's coming? Because a lot of what's going on in the world today is stuff that was written about 30, 40 years ago, before it happened. You know? And eventually they're going to try and outlaw smoking altogether. They're going to try and outlaw booze like they did during the Prohibition times. You know, it's going to be, well, red meat's unhealthy for you, so you can't eat that. You know, you can't have salt, you can't have this, you can't have that. This is another way for the government to control you. And you need to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up, and they need to fight for their rights. You know, that's why I said I'm a very big supporter of Thomas Jefferson as far as a lot of what he said. And I hold that true, what he said. The best form of government is the government that interferes the least. That doesn't happen nowadays. You know why? Our government's got their hand in everything. Everything. In every cookie jar there is, they got their hand in. They control just about everything. Everybody's under mass surveillance. They really are. You know, and it's not supposed to be like that. Like I said, they claim, oh, well, it's to track the criminals. It's not to track the criminals. It's to track you. That's why I said these people, like I read this story a couple weeks ago about people who were getting this chip put in their hand, you know, to replace cash and credit cards. I would never, ever allow anybody to put anything like that in my body. You know, once you give up your freedom, good luck trying to get it back. So that's my thoughts on this. You know, maybe this is the government's plan. You know, if society collapses and everybody's got to depend on the government and all the small businesses go under, all the farming goes under, you know, everybody's out of work, everybody's got to depend on the government, well, then the government can control you a lot better because then it can mandate things. You know, like in some countries with this coronavirus vaccine, they're saying that you can't get financial assistance unless you get this vaccine. And they've already talked about doing that here in America, where if you need Medicare or you need some type of food stamps or government assistance, you can't get that government assistance unless you get this vaccine. That's what some states are proposing. Well, I don't know about you, but I believe I have the choice of what goes in my body, and I'm not letting anybody stick me with this shit. Nope, not at all. I don't care if they say it's supposed to make you better. Personally, I believe they're injecting this virus in you, because there's been a lot of problems with this vaccine. You know, it was the first shot, and now they're saying the second shot is worse than the first one, and it doesn't protect you against the virus itself. You can still catch the virus. Well, if you can still catch the virus, then what the heck is the point of getting the shot? Why should you get the shot? Oh, well, it's a chance to reduce it. You know, it's that. You know what? I don't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't. This is some type of experimental crap that they came up with. You know, to test out on people. Why is it they can come up with a supposed vaccine within a matter of 5 or 6 months from this outbreak, but yet they've been trying to find a cure for cancer for 50 years or more, and they claim that they can't? Well, first of all, let me tell you the truth on that, and let me tell you the truth on the FDA. They're all full of shit. Excuse my choice of words, but they're full of shit. There are cures out there for cancer. But you see, here's the thing. If the government releases these cures, the pharmaceutical companies and the government don't make no money. Because these drugs are taxed, okay? So the pharmaceutical company don't make no money. The government don't make no money because it's taxed. It's a lot easier to have people to keep buying this stuff and buying this stuff and buying this stuff to control your situation, which it might not even work. And you're spending all this money if the government makes money, then to have the government actually put out a cure for you, and all of a sudden, hey, you're cured, you don't need this no more. Well, you don't need it, you don't have to buy it no more. So the government and the pharmaceutical companies don't make no money. Simple as that. It is simple as that. It always comes down to money, especially with the United States government. Money, money, money. They are a bunch of greedy people. And you know what God says about money? God says the money is the root of all evil. I've heard that many, many times. Money is the root of all evil. And that's what it is, because it's greed. Everybody, just about everybody in this world, they don't know when to call it enough. They want more money, more and more and more. What they have is never good enough. Same thing with these politicians and these elected officials. That's why they stay in office. It's about power, it's about money, and it's something they don't want to give up. And it's about controlling people. Believe me, ladies and gentlemen, take back your rights and your freedom. Thank you.